Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie.
And we're so excited that you're here on the first Tuesday
A fall.
of fall.
Wow.
That is true. It
It's
feels
true.
like fall a little bit.
It does.
Southern California fall, not Midwest or East Coast fall or up north, but Southern California fall.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't in the daytime, but at nighttime.
Yeah, but that's also true.
Yeah.
All right, what should people do, Katie?
Should go to wherever you're watching this, which I would imagine is somewhere. Maybe.
Be weird if they weren't.
And if you can hear my voice, follow me to the chat. And in the chat, tell us what your favorite Jim Henson project is, because today is his birthday.
What is your favorite Jim Henson project?
Muppet Vision 3. You
Okay.
kidding me? You kidding me?
Not the Muppet movie, huh?
Muppet Vision 3.
Huh. Okay.
Hands-
Even...
No question.
Huh.
Muppet Vision 3D is my favorite Muppet anything.
Huh.
Mainly because it was my first exposure to the Muppets.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And so that was
Not
like
the classic The Muppet Show.
I hadn't seen the Muppet Show until it was on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we get into real Muppets, we are going to talk about some breaking news, and that is the fact that Tropical Storm Helene is making its way towards Florida, which currently, for Walt Disney World, means nothing.
Yeah.
They have not made any changes whatsoever to their operating schedules or anything like that. That doesn't mean they won't,
True.
but it is something to keep your eyes on. And I will say, if you are going to Walt Disney World this week, be ready to wear a raincoat,
Mm-hmm.
because it is going to rain a lot.
Yeah.
Be ready to hang out your room a lot. And be ready just for whatever happens and have a good attitude. with
Mr.
it.
Daps, are you speaking from
I
experience?
am. I'm also saying if you think it's a great idea to go fly out to Florida because it might get hit, well, Walt Disney World might get hit by a hurricane, don't. It's boring. Having been stuck at Walt Disney World during a hurricane, you literally sit in your room and they're like, stay in your room. And you sit in your room and you watch the rain come down.
To clear the conspiracy again, 2 years later or whatever it is, you did not fly out to Florida to hurricane chase.
No, I got stuck.
You got stuck.
I flew out, and then from the time I left to the time I landed, the world changed.
Well, the issue that I think is very funny that a lot of people don't know about this story is that you
I didn't have a place to stay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a way of putting it. No, is that you flew out.
Mhm.
You were meeting a friend out there.
Yes.
Airport closed and would not let your friend fly, who's like maybe
Yes.
12 hours after you.
Which meant I did not have a place
Correct.
to stay.
Yeah, it was
And thank goodness Disney's amazing, because I went and told them my situation. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, well, don't worry. We're not going to kick you out in the cold. So yeah.
that'd been crazy.
it would have been. But I will say, it's not like, yes, Disney does Disney and they do the best they can in the situation allowed. But it's not a place you want to be. It's not a place to
No.
go, and it's not a park. It's they do have magical moments that happen, but I don't know that really overcomes the rest of what's going on. And when you realize what's going on around you and people losing their homes and life and property and all that stuff, just not worth it. So if you are going out there, be safe, be careful, listen to Disney. They're trying to keep you safe. They're trying to keep their other cast members safe. And if you go out and do things that they ask you not to do, that means somebody else is no longer safe because they have to deal with that too.
Correct.
Then also just common sense. And if you're not scheduled to go out there right now,
Don't do it.
play it safe, keep other people safe as
Yep.
well. All right. Now that we've talked about that,
Mhm.
unless you want to talk about it some more.
No.
I mean, the nice part was getting to see Herbie all night, because there was nothing else to do. Just watch Herbie all night. But since we have talked about that, now we're going to pivot back to Jim Henson, which means it is time to talk about.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Mr. Daps. Thank you, Mr. Daps. Thanks, man. Thanks, Mr. Daps. Thank you, Mr. Daps. Thanks, man.
So today is Jim Henson's, what would have been his 88th birthday, if I did the math
Wow.
correctly. And for his 88th birthday, the Muppets,
The
Sesame
Muppets.
Street, and the Jim Henson Company came together to make what I thought was a touching video that celebrated Jim Henson and his birthday in kind of a very unique way. And it wasn't anything over the top and big musical numbers or anything like that, but it was a very Like, I think just special. Like, that's actually what Kermit calls it. Like, it's a special day.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something special and it was unique. And to me, the most special part of it was the fact that you saw these three companies collaborating in a way that you very, very rarely see. Like, you don't see Kermit on Sesame Street
Correct.
being the reporter anymore, and you don't see, like, you just don't see those crossovers anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas when Jim Henson was still around, you did see more of those types of crossovers. What did you think, first off, of the video they posted today?
It's fantastic. I think my first reaction was like, whoa, because I was struggling to wrap my mind around the fact that they had actually gotten the three companies together. I also think it's incredibly touching. I also think it's very fitting that Oscar the Grouch is the one that delivers the most like touching part
It was a nice touch.
of it. It's great. I personally have no experience with Fraggles. So
You should.
I know.
Like,
I've been
they're
told that
worth
many
watching.
times.
Both the old and the new are both very well done.
I've been told that many times. That's just a gap in knowledge that I have is with the Fraggles.
In some ways, I feel like they might be some of your favorite Muppet.
Really?
Mhm.
Because there's a dog.
Well, that too. But
Sprocket.
no, I just think the story of Fraggles and the themes that go on with it, I think you would very connect with.
I should watch it.
Yeah.
But it was no, I think that Crocky said it the best. It was pleasant, it was heartfelt, and it was simple.
Mhm.
And that's
And I sure hope you're right that it shows a future for these brands, because
I
I would
hope
like to see a lot
so.
more collaboration. Like, my one thought is I went into producer mode watching this. I was like, oh, this is really cute. I like it. Really, like, my first thought was no notes. And I was like, you know what would have been really cool?
Hmm.
Sesame Street.
oh, if they were on Sesame Street.
They were on
Oh,
Sesame
yeah.
Street. Like,
For
that
sure.
would have been, that would have, like, you would have taken a very touching moment and turned it into full on tearjerker.
Oh yeah.
Because
It'd be like a Mr. Hooper.
yeah, it would just be a very nice connection. And I feel like, you know, maybe the Fraggles weren't really ever on Sesame Street, but that doesn't, with the way they did it, why not?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that would have been a really nice extra nod, because there's not really a true Muppet Studios that you can connect Jim Henson to. And there's not like a Fraggle, like, there's not a place where it would make sense to put the three of them there. But Sesame Street
Is iconic.
everybody could go to. Jim Henson worked there. You know, maybe it wasn't the set they're on today, but yeah.
Could you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
Yes, apparently through that garbage can.
Okay.
But I think that would have been, if I were the one producing it,
Mhm.
and lawyers weren't an issue. So maybe that's the thing.
Maybe.
Like, oh no, we have to have it in neutral territory, because that was possible too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I would have been like, over the top. That would have
I
been amazing.
also just really love when the Muppets come together.
Mhm.
Like, I think of
That's what Muppets are about. It's about a bunch of different people coming together, and they really did that with this. Even
well, I was thinking of like Jim Henson's memorial.
Mhm.
And like you have Big Bird and you have Kermit and you have like all of these Muppets coming together because they were like they loved Jim.
Yeah.
And it was filmed from Loki season 2. But no, I thought it was just beautiful. I hope this is a sign of what's coming. I hope that we get more. I just think that'd be a great move for everybody.
so
But
my question is,
Mhm.
this isn't exactly related, but I've been thinking about it since this morning, because we haven't had something quote unquote new from the Muppets for a while. Like, kind of, you know, you could say Muppets Haunted Mansion was that a year and a half, 2 years ago,
3 years ago.
3 years ago. So it's been a while
Yeah.
since we've really gotten something full on new. And yes, they got the thing at Disney Jollywood Nights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to count that, because
Sure.
that's like, not everybody can watch that. Like, you have to go to something special for that. Like, what if it was something new going to the movie theaters or on Disney Plus? What would that story be? Because to me, maybe the next thing they should do is another, like, a Muppet version of a classic story, or a Muppet version of a movie, or something like that. if it were that, what would you like to see next?
They could do one of those fish out of water movies. They
Mhm.
could
So you don't know.
no. I was very quickly trying to go through. They're doing a sequel.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah. How about one of those fish out of water movies?
I was tracking with you.
I know.
Yes.
I really, or the Fozzie line of they stop an oil baron from destroying the old studio. Fozzie, did you even watch our last film? I don't know. I always like when the Muppets are doing something positive together.
What about?
That's why I didn't love Muppets.
What about?
Hmm.
Muppets Sherlock Holmes.
Oh my god.
Why not? Kermit would make a great Sherlock.
So after the thing you
Either-
just said in the pre-show, I'm getting scared.
Either Fozzie or Gonzo could be Watson. Right?
Okay.
Just saying. Like, wouldn't that be fun?
I'm getting nervous.
Fair. But
He's got Sherlock on the brain tonight.
true. It's also in the public domain, this clock you mentioned. So
Valid.
not super expensive for them to make.
Okay.
What do you think of this? Like, I think
Human Watson. Who's the human? And don't say Martin Short. Or not Martin Short. Martin Freeman. Martin Short would be a great Watson.
Josh Gad would be a good one too.
Oh yeah, he would.
Like Josh Gad, I could picture. What's his face that did late night that a lot of people don't like? He did.
Are you thinking of Carpool Karaoke?
Yeah, that guy.
I can picture his face.
Super Hulock.
No, Super Hulock. This is 2024. We have suffered enough. James
Corden.
James Corden.
Thank you.
Thank you to the studio
Hockey
audience.
says no James Corden. So
Yes, no James Corden.
I like the Josh Gad idea. I feel like he would be a good. He's got the right type of humor and sensibilities,
Sure.
and I would love to hear him do a British accent. No, I think you could really do some. Who would be like Moriarty though? Like who'd be the villain? I feel like-
So you can't pick another human because in my head there's only
It could
one,
be
there's only one human
Uncle
Moriarty.
Deadly.
There's only one human Moriarty
True.
because I honestly think he was just so good.
That is true. He was
That
very good.
I think it's, and this might not be fair, but every Moriarty sense I have compared to BBC Sherlock.
So I think a few other ideas that you could do that may not be public domain, so maybe not as good.
The villain has to be Glenn.
My Fair Lady.
Okay.
You could do.
Sure.
Miss Piggy and Kermit, very obvious.
The rain
The Rain in Spain
falls mainly on the plane.
stays mainly on the plane. Also, Sound of Music.
Cabaret.
You don't like Sound of Music?
I think the Sound of Music is great.
Okay.
I do think you have to tweak some things in Act 3, but
I mean, honestly, they've already gone there in the old Muppet show, so maybe not. I don't know.
true.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's quite a few. Pride and
Muppets.
Prejudice.
Okay,
That's
yes.
a great idea.
Muppets Pride and Prejudice with the person who's been pitching it the most. You know what I'm gonna say? My man Brett Goldstein.
Oh,
why
couldn't he be Watson?
I want to kiss that man on the face.
He would
I
be-
love him.
He would be a good Watson.
Yeah. And
Like,
he
can you
really
imagine him following Kermit? Because he would be. I actually am changing
and
my.
he really wants to work with the Muppets. Like really wants to work with the Muppets.
Maybe he can do the thing like they did with the Muppet movie in 2011, and he's the one that comes up with a Muppet movie. Maybe we need to start a.
Muppets Ted Lasso.
That's actually a good idea too.
Brett is still Roy.
Maybe we need to start a movement to get him to start pitching movies.
He's so serious that when I saw him in LA, it was one of the big things he was talking about. I think because he was extremely hopeful that somebody would know somebody that could make it happen in LA.
So we just need to start pushing this on social media.
Only Muppets in the
everywhere.
building would be insane.
That would be funny too. I would actually like to see Kermit and Steve Martin work together.
I think that'd be great. I mean, they have.
The whole group would.
I think they'd
well,
be
true,
good
but, like,
again.
bring them back. Let's do it again in a movie.
More than just a waiter. That was a movie.
Yeah, he was also on the Muppet Show,
Oh.
I believe.
I just think of the original Muppet movie.
It was Gonzo all along. This is great. I like this.
It was Gonzo all along.
It was Gonzo all along.
Down, down, down.
It was also Indy all along.
down. Baby.
So let's watch another Indie Camp.
My child. He's
Still scared of them.
really brave.
Sure.
It almost looks like you were training him to stay.
I was not.
Okay, we all know you weren't, but
I literally thought, like, at some point he's gonna go get this ball. Nope. Okay, I'll help him.
he's scared. He's a baby.
Speaking of scary,
Mhm.
we went to Not Scary Farm this last weekend on was it Friday night, Thursday night? And
Thursday
night for the opening night of Not Scary Farm, for the 51st Not Scary Farm. And we got to see what there was to see, eat what there was to eat, do what there was to do, see the shows, all of that jazz. What was your favorite thing from Not Scary Farm this year? If you were to pick one thing.
The Blind Tiger soiree in the Goring 20s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine too. Yes.
I
was like,
think it was
that's
just
the name of it.
It was so good. And it brought a life to that scare zone, because in previous years, it's kind of been like, oh, there's a band and it's fun. But
We've
it was
actually done that all previous years. We've just always missed it.
I know, I was just saying it's a band and it's
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
But I'm saying it really took on a new life of like these characters are dancing with people and they're having fun. And I think one of my favorite things, and you missed it because you were filming, obviously. But I was standing at the entrance to the arcade, being out of the way and just watching everything. This guy, he's a scare actor. He wasn't just a random person. He's like, you want to smoke? Because he had a cigar. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, it's mine. He like walked away with it. It was just like my favorite, like, we all know I'm very big on lore and world building. So yeah, I
always say yes.
I really loved it. I had a really great time. If we're talking about mazes, my favorite was still Cinema Slasher, because that maze is so good. I am sorry to the 2 new mazes this year, but Cinema Slasher I think is one of the greatest of all time.
And I'm now conflicted because I was about to say Carnival.
Oh, yeah.
I really love that scare zone this year, which is funny because other years I'm kind of like, meh. Like,
usually your Ghost Town Streets.
Yeah, Ghost Town Streets is always my favorite. This year it was absolutely not. Like it, and it wasn't.
Carnival was fun.
Carnival was a lot of fun. The jazz band was also right up there at the top, and I think that probably was the best. But Carnival, like, I don't even like I don't care one way or the other. I'm kind of like nothing about this. I'm not a huge like fake Calliope music fan. I'm not a fan of
that sentence. I'm sorry, that sentence was just insane, because imagine walking up to a normal human being on this planet and being like, I'm not really that into fake Calliope music, and they'd be like, what's a Calliope?
That is one of my main criticisms of Paradise Pier back in the day.
I know.
But no, it had lots of things that I was just like, there's no reason this should be my favorite other than you've gone the extra mile, you're working extra hard, and I'm seeing people scared, which was a lot of fun.
True.
And
there was also a lot of diversity over there. Like,
true.
it was The
Sure.
ones that are more funny. I think one of my favorite things we saw when we were walking through was that there was a clown reporter with a clown cameraman, and they were interviewing people, asking them about how scary things were, and then that was setting up for scares for other clowns.
It
and
was pretty fun. It's like they did a really good job with that. And I don't think there was anything wrong with Ghost Town Streets. It just didn't like that one didn't jump out at me as much this year. The Gauntlet didn't jump out at me as much this year.
Yeah.
The what's the water one?
Forsaken Lake.
Forsaken Lake didn't jump out as, and I think different years, maybe it's even just the teams that are working on these
Probably.
jumped out, but Goring 20s and Carnival really jumped out, and then they did a fantastic job. And then like the other thing that jumped out, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but it stuck with me, is we went on the mine train, and that thing is weird. Like it was fun, but it was weird. I don't know entirely what happened, other than kids went after candy, a witch candy lady chased them.
She pretends to be a fairy.
And then she blew up the place.
Yeah.
I think. Like it was ridiculous, but it was kind of weird enough that it was very
My
fun.
favorite line is, "This happens every year." And I'm like, and we can't change this somehow? You can't tell the children to stop going into the fairy so the witch gets them?
So it was a little bit like
I love it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, but it was
It's
totally
fun.
worth. Like I was glad it worked out this year, and 'cause sometimes you just don't have enough time to do everything. And
It's
this
true.
year, for whatever reason, it worked out. It was great. But no, it stood out because I'm just like, I don't know what's going on and how this came to be, but it's ridiculous. So
True.
I don't know. It was fun. This goes on select nights through November 2nd. Definitely worth going and seeing. If you want to see some weird entertainment, they've got that. It's a little bit creepy, a lot of it weird. And it's very unique to Knott's Berry Farm. Like if you go through the whole thing, like Knott's Berry Farm really leans into creating its own lore, creating its own character moments, creating all of that. And even when I don't entirely get it, I appreciate it because I'm just like, oh, you guys really went the extra mile. And like the the Carnival de
Carnival du Grotesque.
Yeah. So even that, I'm like, kind of cool, kind of weird, kind of I don't get it. But somebody in the comments on our YouTube channel was like, oh, it continued the story from last year. And I was like, of course it did. And it leaves, I will say, there's a cliffhanger. Nobody knew if the thing was over.
It's true.
It literally ends and everyone's like, is it done? And I can only imagine that next year we're going to be like, oh, that's why it did it. And so like Knott's is very good with that, like continuing the story and the immersion as you're going through different years. And I appreciate that. Even with its mazes, they do the same thing where they're like, oh, this we did last year. We're bringing it back this year, or whatever.
Well, and it's mazes that have existed, say, we're talking about Origins of the Curse of Calico. They bring it back in a different way every year. They enhance the storytelling, or they highlight something else. Or there's also, I'm not going to spoil where it is this year, they've been playing a game since they introduced the Grimoire. The Grimoire is a cursed book. It's one of the mazes. The Grimoire may be floating from maze to maze.
Dun, dun, dun,
And so they pick a maze each year that the Grimoire is in. And yeah, it's in a different maze this year.
So lots of cool things. The food was really good. Like, I will also say that.
Yeah.
And
you had gator sausage.
Yeah. And I liked it.
And you liked it.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I liked it better than the boysenberry sausage.
Yeah.
Like the gator sausage was the winner for me of the two. But food is great. If you have a pass already, go get your food before you go to this, because I just feel like if you've only got, 5 hours? 9, 10, 11, 12, 6 hours.
6 hours. Wow.
But if you only got 6 hours, you really want to use it seeing all the shows, seeing the mazes, seeing the scare zones. And it is basically impossible to do everything in one night. So just plan ahead, do your best, enjoy the scares, and enjoy the food.
It's true.
Also a thing to enjoy. Brand new. Thunderbolts with an asterisk. Any thoughts on the asterisk before we go into the trailer that's brand new?
It makes me think that, like, we're going to get in the first episode, these are the Thunderbolts. And then the first act of the film, it's going to be like, this is the Thunderbolts. And then I think in act 2, we're going to get like Bucky or something. And so he's going to be an add-on to the Thunderbolts. So it's going to be like the Thunderbolts and Bucky or something. I don't know. That's my guess.
It's funny because I saw the asterisk and I'm like, oh, so the Thunderbolts, but they aren't the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Because
For some reason.
yes. And I immediately went to sports.
Okay. Hit me with it.
Why do you get an asterisk if you're in sports and you have a record? Because you cheated. So I'm like, we'll see where it goes.
Sure.
Anyway, what do you think of? Let's get to the trailer. What do you think of the trailer?
I think it's fun. I also think I had a very great conversation with one of my partners the other day about Marvel and the direction they've gone in, and how they were like, I wish we could just forget Phase 5 existed, because it just took itself too seriously. And I kind of think that this feels like it's in that realm.
Do you think it's taking itself too seriously?
It kind of feels like that to me.
Really? Because
Yeah.
I went the other way where I was like, oh, that looks fun. Like, this looks like a lot of serious things that nobody cares about. Like, at the end of the day, it's just
Thor:
like,
Love and Thunder was also that, but it did take itself too seriously as well. Quantumania was also that, and it took itself too seriously.
it's possible then. Now I'm scared.
Yeah. And so that's
I actually like the trailer. Now I'm worried.
I know. So that's my thing, is that I just get really nervous because ever since Infinity War and Endgame, which had to be what they were, they have not been able to switch tonally back completely out of the television shows. Because I think WandaVision did well. I think Agatha All Along did well. I think Loki did well.
Yes.
I think those had like a fine time switching tonally.
Spider-Man movies did fine.
Only one of those was after, though.
Okay, so Spider-Man was at No Way Home.
Yes.
I thought that was good.
I think it was good too. I just think but that one was made at the same time as Endgame, or around the same
I thought it
time.
was after. I thought it was during the.
It came out after Endgame.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think that they've had a hard time with tone, and so that just concerns me, because sometimes it just feels like a really gritty, put together a team, and I'm like, how many teams do we have? We have a lot.
So I'm predicting that it's going to be very action heavy.
Yeah.
A lot of humor accompanying, but not flippant like Thor: Love and Thunder. Because I think Thor: Love and Thunder just took it too far.
Mm-hmm.
And just from like what I was seeing, like there's some cute humorous moments, which is kind of what you expect from more of like a traditional Iron Man movie, or even kind of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe not quite as humorous as that, but I'm expecting it more of that direction. And I think there's a chance it's going to be really fun. Like, I think it's just going to be a fun film. I don't know how it will connect with everything. I mean, obviously, all of these characters we've seen before, so it'll connect some way or another. But I don't know how much it'll connect to the bigger Marvel Cinematic Universe. And part of me doesn't care because I feel like they kind of need a reboot again,
Mm-hmm.
which they'll probably get. They're heading towards Doctor Doom and all this stuff. Like, they're going to do a pivot away from Kang and more towards whatever this next level is with Doctor Doom. And I wouldn't mind if they were a little bit less tightly knit.
Sure.
Where it's like all of these things can happen in the same universe, but
Star
they
Wars.
don't all have to happen like leading to this one big bad or this one.
How literally for Star Wars, for the last, and minus some projects, everything is led back to the Skywalker family.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. And it's like, there are other people in space.
Mhm.
Maybe.
It's very
Although
true.
I am really enjoying Agatha All Along, so like, don't change what you're
But that's my point, is
That's
like
great.
that's related, but it's not necessarily core to fighting Kang or
Yes.
whoever's going to be the next big bad for them. And so I think you can have movies and series that are connected, but they don't have to be like a direct ABC. And maybe it's one of those things where it's not a direct ABC now, but then there's a reveal 5 or 10 years later where you're like, oh, now they're coming
Yeah.
to fight whatever it is. And I think that would be cool.
I will say, I think we just always need more. Tony Stark built this in a cave.
I mean,
with a
it's
box of
hard- it is
scraps.
so hard to beat that.
Yeah, it's so good.
It really is good. Like that one is solid. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm hopeful for this. I think it's gonna be fun. What do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down, sideways, 2 thumbs up. I think it's gonna be fun.
I think
don't
we'll
know.
enjoy
I
it.
was like, I don't know how much it's going to add to the MCU, but it looks like a good ride. And I don't know where it's going to end either. And it looks like they're in the Avengers Tower. It's
Yeah.
clearly been purchased. All right. We're running out of time for tonight. And there's a space launch we're hoping to watch.
It's actually in a minute and a
in
half.
a minute and a half. Thank you. So we are going to end it right on time at 9 o'clock instead of going into full Geeks Corner Plus. But Katie, what should people do?
You should go to dapsmagic.com, check out all the Disney and Geek news as it happens. If you're just really missing Geeks Corner Plus and you just wanted more tonight, you can always find your Patreon. There's lots of bonus content there, and there's a pre-show for this show.
There you go. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the videos that we have going up. We have a ton of them, and we keep finding more somehow. I don't know how it's happening, but we are. But that's a good thing, right? More content, more fun. Anyway, that is all the time we have for you this week. So we will see you round the corner.
Bye.